Hello and welcome back to Just Follow Joy. My name's Ariana, not Joy, and I'm a human design guide and teacher, as well as a lover of all things manifestation. And of course, manifestation is what we are talking about today. You have probably figured that out if you've seen the title of this episode, because we are chatting with the lovely, sparkly, inspiring Sam Schneider of Samantha Aaron Coaching. Samantha Schneider is a spiritual business coach who helps entrepreneurs merge mindset, energy, and strategy to manifest more sales, clients, and freedom. Known for turning alignment into results, she guides her clients to build magnetic brands, scale with ease, and unlock their next income level, all without burning out or selling their soul. She's also a 5-1 sacral generator, just like me. So in this episode, we do talk a lot about manifestation within business, but everything we talk about, all the processes, all the techniques, all the tips, they will apply to manifesting anything you want in your life. So even if you're not a business owner, I highly, highly recommend that you keep listening because there's going to be some juicy, good stuff in here for you. We talk about how to finally see results when it comes to manifesting what you want, no matter how long you've been trying, how Sam gained 10,000 followers on both Instagram and TikTok. Yes, separately, she did this twice. And how she went from getting under 300 views on her videos consistently on TikTok to going viral with millions of views on multiple videos and doing all of this simply from belief. Sam's personal practice for manifesting, so what she actually does step by step to manifest what she wants. And then, of course, we share some of our favorite manifestation stories along the way, especially at the end. There's some really good ones. And before we dive in, I just want to remind you that if you like Just Follow Joy, if you love Just Follow Joy, it would be so helpful if you could like and subscribe to the channel if you're watching on YouTube, or if you could leave a 5-star rating and review wherever you are listening to this in podcast form. It really is the best way to get the show out in front of other people who will like and love it. And of course, there's never any pressure. It's just greatly appreciated and helpful. So with all that said, let's go learn from Sam. All right, Sam, you already know I'm so excited to have you on.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And yeah, okay. So before we dive into manifestation and human design and all that great stuff, I was just talking to Sam about why she moved to San Diego because I live in San Diego too. And wait, can you just tell them real quick? Because I want it really a fast
Yes.
chart.
Yes. So I was living in New York and then COVID hit. Sorry, guys, my voice today. And my roommate at the time, she went and visited her little brother who was in the Navy. And she calls me. She's coming back from the beach. She did not expect my answer, but she was like, Sam, we have to move to San Diego. Like, we have to move here. I just got back from the beach. It's amazing. I picked up the phone, you guys, and I was tanning in a bathing suit on the top of my building. I was hosing myself down with the hose on the top of my concrete building in New York City. And in that moment, I was like, yep, let's move. Like, I cannot do this anymore. I need to be by a beach. And I always told myself that I wanted to move to California before I was 30. And it happened, 5 years before that. And I've never looked back.
That is so great. And I love, so Sam is a pure sacral generator like myself. She also has an undefined G center. So really what this means for you, Sam, is like you don't need to find the next place that you go to. Like it sounds like you already knew, like you had a sacral response that one day like, yeah, I'm gonna go there. Like maybe you came across a picture of California or you saw it on TV or what someone was talking about it, whatever, right? Or had you been there before when you were younger?
Yeah, but like when I was really young, like I didn't even know that there were palm trees everywhere here. Like I thought it was just palm trees at the airport. Like I was shocked.
It's actually funny because they're not native to California at all, because most of this place is desert. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We stole water to make sure that Los Angeles and San Diego have palm trees. They're not native to California. But with the undefined G center, like you don't really need to be like going and finding that next step towards the location. It's just brought to you. So places really
Wow.
find you and people bring them to you. And I wouldn't be surprised if your friend had a defined G center, because they are the people who like bring us places. We get to kind of taste their direction. And if it's a yes, as a sacral generator, you're going to get this in the moment, like, fuck yeah. Yep. I don't know why. Just my body said yes, and we go this way. I actually knew another person. I know another generator. She had the chance to respond to go to Spain, and she was like, yep, I'm just moving to Spain, just dropping all of it and going.
It's so funny you say that because all my friends come to me if they're going on a trip and they need someone to come, and I'll say yes, but I actually am not a planner whatsoever. And so people will be like, we're going to, do you want to go to Rufus de Soul? I'll say yes. And they will have already got, my friends will be like, I already got your concert ticket for you without asking because I knew that you would want to go to this. So I actually don't do any planning in my friend group. The plans come to me, which is so funny that you say that.
Oh my God, I could dive in. Okay, we're gonna dig even more into your chart right now because you have the gate, you literally have the gate of yes. So you have gate
Yes.
29 in your chart, and these people are known for like always being open to or looking for the next yes. It's like, what's the next thing I can commit to and put my energy into? So they're like always like they're hungry for it. Like, when's the next thing coming? And the fact that you trust that it's coming to you is huge because a lot of people, a lot of generators who have gate 29 in their chart will be like, well, what if it doesn't come? What if I have to go find it? But for you, you don't. Life comes to you. And the other cool thing is you have something called peripheral perspective, which means that you are really not someone who's here to like ever have a plan. Like I don't know, I
Yes.
don't even know what I'm going to eat for lunch, and I have peripheral
Yes.
perspective, right? So the big joke is they always say that for people who have this in their chart, we're asked where you want to be in 5 years, and it's like, dude, are you kidding me? And with your undefined G center too, it's like we'll find out. We'll find out. I'll know when I'm there. So that all makes a lot of sense.
You are like a psychic right now because when I first moved to California, my friends were like, "When are you coming back?" And I would say, "I don't even know what I'm going to eat for breakfast."
Yeah.
I love that. Yes. Okay, this is amazing. And yeah, no, I feel that way exactly that I feel like when I try and go out and get something, for example, in dating, when I try and like be the pursuer, it doesn't work. It's always the things come to me. And that's when I get the best plans, the best trips, yeah, the best dates, like exactly what you're saying.
You have gate 34, the gate of magnetic charisma in your chart. You don't need to even seek. Anyway, okay. I could talk about this forever, and I probably will throughout the podcast episode. But so, Sam, obviously, your big thing is manifestation and helping business owners with that. So, finding business success through manifestation. So, would you be so kind to share some of your story and how you got here? And also, sometimes when I ask people that, they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I just like told you all these things, and I went so deep into that. I want you to tell us everything you want to tell us. We want to hear."
Okay, perfect. Because this is a long story, but it's my favorite story ever. So, and I know it really helps a lot of people. So I'm excited to tell it. So, I in college, I found out about manifesting because I was in a funk, and this girl was like, "You should watch The Secret." Just like you said, someone gave me the advice, and I said, "Okay, perfect." Had no idea what it was. I watched The Secret, and instantly I was like, "This is the missing puzzle piece. Like, this is what I've been looking for." Like, I felt like there was more to this life, and I felt like I had, more control over this life. And right when I found out about manifesting, I didn't even have to like think, is this real or not? I was just like, this is it. So I was the girl in my senior year of college who my friends would like, crowd around my bed, and I would read them about manifestation before we would go out, and we'd be like, we're going to get free drinks and like all this stuff. So after college, I was a finance major in college, but I got a job at Kohl's, the department store, as a manager because it paid really well out of college and it was in my hometown. So I really wanted to live at home for a couple of months, but I told myself, I was like, this isn't going to be my forever job. I like went to school for finance. I always love entrepreneurship, all that stuff. And so what happened next? You have to be careful with what you say out loud to the universe. About, 6 to 8 months into that job, they were like, we're going to relocate you to Long Island. And I was like, oh, hell no. And nothing, I love Long Island. It was this part of Long Island. I wish I remember what it was called, but it was like they were in a time warp. Like they were wearing, they had perms in their hair, and like it was just not for me. And I love Long Island, but I need to find out the name of it because yeah, I need to start using that in the story. But anyway, so basically, I was like, I'm going to quit this job and I'm going to get another job. And this is when I found out that manifestation was so real. Like after this story, I had no doubt in my mind. My parents were like, don't quit your job. You're not going to get another job for 6 months. And I said, watch me. I took out a piece of paper and I wrote down exactly what I wanted in a job. And I've taught this to so many of my friends. It's worked literally every single time. And so I wrote down in the present tense, I wanted summer Fridays. I wanted 20 days off. I wanted it to be in New York City. I wanted it to be in fashion, in corporate America. I wanted the same salary. And I wrote down the exact date that I wanted to start, which was like 2 weeks from the date that I did. And so then I took action. I went to, the library with my mom, and I would apply to jobs. And my dad made me go to like a recruiting office. And they said to me, there is no way that you are going to get this salary. You are going to have to take a $20,000 pay cut. And again, I was like, watch me. So I had the inspired thought, action. I was like, wait, there was a girl in my sorority who worked at Saks Fifth Avenue. Let me text her. I texted her. She was like, I no longer work there, but I'll give your resume to my old boss. Which one? Who does that? Like that would never, I would never think like I don't work there, but I'll give your resume. So she gives the resume. I have an interview like the next day. I go into New York City, have the interview. I get a call and they're like, you got the job. It starts in 2 weeks. It was the exact date that I put. It was the exact salary as my last job. I got summer Fridays, New York City, and instead of 21 days off, I got unlimited days off, and I got every single thing that I wrote down. And my mom was like, "Holy shit!" My dad was like, "What the hell?" And since that moment, I was like, "This works." So I loved that job so much. And but when I would come home from that job, I knew since I was a little girl that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Like I would resell stickers to my parents. I would make them buy stickers and I'd resell them. Like I was such a hustler. And so I knew that I wanted to build my own business. And I would sit at work and I would listen to podcasts of people who had, coaching businesses. And I was like, this is going to be me. And so I would come home every night and do the same thing. I would write out my perfect day. I would write out exactly, how I wanted my day to look and the fact that I would, wake up whenever I wanted, have, go be able to go to any workout class, be able to help people, have a following, all this stuff, right? And so your job's not the how. So then what happened is the pandemic hit and I got furloughed from my job and I was the happiest girl ever because I was like, this is what I manifested. All I needed is time to try and make this work. And I was getting paid even more from the government than my poor coworkers that were still working because it was just set up that way at the time. And so then basically I tried one thing. I tried drop shipping for a couple months. It didn't work because of the economy at the time, like not the economy, the shipping at the time during
Mm.
COVID from China. And I was like, what I really want to do is be a life coach. And I thought I was too young. And then I saw someone my age who was 25, Amanda Francis. She was like, I started when I was 25 and I built this business. And then I saw someone, Vanessa Lau, who had a course and it was like $1,000 to, become a coach. I was like, this is it. My uh, work called me back, Saks, and they were like, all right, you have to come back into work. And I was like, I quit. Just like you said, I knew I was such a big people pleaser, but I knew in that moment that's exactly what I had to do. I quit cold turkey. My dad still has no idea. I told him that I got fired when I really quit. He still doesn't know. And 3 months later, I built a following of 10,000 followers. I manifested it. And 6 months later, I hit my first 10K month. And I heard my dad on the phone bragging to his friend about the fact that I hit my first 10K month in my business. And that's the story.
Oh my gosh, so many things about that. Okay, so first, when you were like, I was such a people pleaser, you have an undefined solar plexus center, which I want to dive into later when it comes to manifesting. But having an undefined solar plexus center, we feel other people's emotions. And so avoiding confrontation is a really big thing, or avoiding emotional truths is a big thing with the undefined solar plexus center. So, like, props to you. That's a really big thing that you owned your no as a generator. People will
Thank
always,
you.
especially with you, Sam, you have so much life force and productive and creativity energy in your chart. Like, it is just, it's blasting out of your sacral center. And so, you're one of the best workers in the world. And so I wouldn't be surprised that they wanted you to come back, and they're like, we want you here. Um, not just
Thank
through what you
you.
do, but through your energy. But as a generator, it's like one of the biggest things is owning, I don't want to do it, and saving that for the things that you really do, what the full yes is. Even when you were talking
Yes,
about drop shipping, and then you're like, I didn't really want to do that. I mean, I wanted to, I don't actually know if I don't want to put words in your mouth. You said it didn't
no,
work, but
yeah,
it sounds like what you wanted to do anyway was be a life coach.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I just thought the limiting beliefs of like when I would tell people that they'd be like, but you're so like, who would trust you? And it wasn't until I saw other people my age, I was like, okay, yes, I can make this work.
Yeah. Marie Forleo used
Yeah.
to, I don't know if you know this about her, but she started doing coaching when she was 23 and she made her headshots in black and white because she thought it was less obvious how young she was. She thought it would like convince people that she was older. Apparently it worked because people hired her, but
I'm
yeah, it's
obsessed with
such a,
that.
yeah, it's such a real thing. And it's funny too because by the time that I started doing human design, this is a bit of a tangent here, but I how old was I? It was 2020 or 2021. So I was 25, 26 years old. And that wasn't really a limiting belief of mine that like no one would want to come learn from me because I was like, oh, it's fine. It seemed like people learn astrology from younger people.
Yes.
But you know what's so interesting is that basically everyone I've ever given a reading to, except maybe two or three people, have all been older than me. And so you
Wow.
really never know. Like you literally never know. Sam became a coach successfully when she was quite young, still are. You know, I drew in this crowd I never would have expected. So yeah, just a little note, blast through those limiting beliefs because you never know.
I love that. And I've helped women who are like, 60. I just helped someone who was like 70 do this. And so, yeah, it literally, I know it does not matter the age, whatever. Like, it's all about the energy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, we know that. And then, so can you tell us a little bit about this story of you going viral on TikTok and gaining like just a ton of followers overnight? Because I don't have TikTok. I downloaded it to go look at your videos, and I was like, this girl has millions of views on these. Insane. So can you tell us a little bit about what happened and what you did?
I would love to. So when I first started my Instagram, I gained 10,000 followers in 3 months and I manifested that. And so TikTok has always been something that I kind of was like not fully in until, this year. I decided like I really want to do the same thing that I did with Instagram with TikTok. And so that's why I think it's really cool because I always use my own strategies. I always say that. Like I feel like there's a lot of manifestation teachers that teach stuff, but they don't do it. And I really, really like to have like the story behind it. And that's how I like to learn stories and stuff like that. So basically, I had my TikTok for probably like a year or like at least like 8 months at this point, and I kept on getting under like 300 views every time, and I was under 1,000 followers. And so January hit this year, and I was like, you know what? I haven't manifested over on that platform like I did on Instagram. So let me do an experiment. So I was like, I want to manifest 10,000 followers. But first, I just want to get to 1,000 followers because I knew that with Instagram, once I got to 1,000 followers, then it was like a snowball effect. And I was able to get to 10,000 in 3 months. And so I decided, in January, I'm going to hit 1,000 followers. Then that month, literally hit 1,000 followers. And then from there, I was like, all right, I'm going to try for 10,000. I remember that I literally was recording this video that I have recorded before. I've told this story before countless times. And I got all dressed up. I recorded this video and I was so upset with myself because I was like, oh, I was only able to get one video out today. But I did not make it mean that, it was going to flop. I remember I literally recorded that video. I went downstairs and I said to my roommate, I was like, this is going to go viral, period. I just decided the outcome. And so I literally posted that video, woke up the next day, and it had 30,000 views. And then it had, 100,000. At this point, it has like 6 million views. And I'm now at 19,000 followers, but I gained 10,000 followers in a week. And the only difference was that I actually got rid of all the strategy rules, all the, you have to, use this type of niche, this type of content. And I just used the manifestation aspect. And that is really what made me go viral. And I always say that when my clients get the best results, it's always because they took a back seat on strategy and they brought manifestation to the front.
Oh, I love that. And you know what's so funny is I was going through my photos today because, as usual, my I got the notification that was like storage almost full. I'm like, crap. And so I was going through and deleting all this like extraneous stuff in my photos, and I found this screenshot of an email from someone back when I had a course on copywriting using your human design energy type. And so what I've always said for people is it's energy first, strategy second. Always. You know, I know that a lot of people don't agree with that. I read someone who's like a money manifestation expert and she was like, "Listen, I love the woo-woo stuff, but it's strategy that gets you there." And I'm like, I'm total opposite.
Mm.
You could not be farther
Yes,
away from what I believe, you know?
yes,
Even though
yes.
she's very, very successful and I respect her. But I got this email from someone who got the course and she was like, can you speak more to this like energetic aspect of it? Because I've had so many like people look at my sales page for what I'm trying to sell. Like I've had high level, like I don't know if she said celebrity copywriter. She was like well-known copywriters in the space. Look at my sales page and be like, this is perfect. This is really well done. It's very polished. Like you hit every point. And I cannot sell for the life of me. Like this product will not sell. And I was like, okay, well, there could be a few things behind it. Like, how do you actually feel about the product? But more than that, it's about the energy you imbue this with. Do you expect it to work? First off, law of assumption. Second, did
Hmm.
you enjoy doing this as a manifesting generator, which is huge for us. If we don't
Yes.
enjoy it, then people can taste that. They can smell it, they can feel it, they can all other five other senses with it. They can get that from it. And so it's just so funny because it sounds like you were probably doing the same stuff except you let go of all that tension and that structure that comes with the strategy that wasn't fun. And especially as a generator, like people already love your energy when you're doing what you love, and it's that sparkle that they're buying from you. It's that case with
Yeah.
anyone from the energetic side. They're buying your energy. But for people like you and me, it's like, how do you feel when you're sharing it? Are you excited and lit up? And like, is your life force on fire? Because I can sense that from Sam. I can. And that's like what drew me to her. And that's what you've said it before. People love your energy. People are in your DMs telling you that they love your energy.
You're so sweet. Every time like someone wants to do one-on-one coaching, it's always like, I love your energy. And that's I should make a like compilation of them. But that is so sweet. And that just makes me so happy because you're completely right. And I guess that person's beliefs, the one who's, the manifestation coach about strategy, is that their belief is that the strategy comes first. But I've just seen it too many times to know that it's always been energy for all of my most successful clients.
Mhm. Absolutely. So I'd love to dig in a little bit more to the manifestation practice that you did before this went viral. And then we can just talk about like your favorite manifestation practices overall. But did you literally you're just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm letting go. And then you walked down and just told your roommate and then it happened?
So I'll tell you exactly what I did. So I love this. And I'm also so excited because I'm going to do a masterclass on this soon, but I'm basically giving you guys all the tea as it is. Because I hate gatekeeping, so I love to give it all. So I realized that I got stuck in TikTok with the strategy. So what I mean by this is before I was going to post a TikTok, I was looking at other people who went viral. I was looking at videos. You need this hook. You need this type of content. This is how you go viral. This is how you gain followers. I was looking at all this stuff strategy based. And I asked myself, if I already had 10,000 followers, and this is also what I did on Instagram, if I already had 10,000 followers, how would I be thinking, feeling, and posting? And people always say this, and it never used to click before. And I feel like I'm really good at like making this more tangible. And so what I mean by that is if I already had 10,000 followers, I wouldn't be looking at someone else's, TikTok to gain followers. I already had the followers. I already cracked the code. I wouldn't be looking for a code, right? And when I'm posting, I would act as if I was talking to thousands of people. And so when I had my Instagram, even when the only follower was my mom, I would act as if I was posting to 10,000 people, right? And so act as if I literally would. So before I post anything, I'm like, instead of what hook should I use? It's if I already had 10,000 followers, you know, they're already watching all my stuff. They don't care what hook I'm using because they love me. And so I started thinking like that, right? And so I started picking up the phone and actually recording like I already know what content to make. It doesn't have to be in my niche, like whatever is coming through me. And so I started acting as if I already had the followers, thinking like, oh my gosh, this is going to go viral. Of course, everyone loves me. Of course, this makes sales. Doesn't matter what I say. They're obsessed with it. Law of assumption. And from there, that's how literally immediately when I started doing that, that's when everything took off.
You're speaking to my soul right now. Like all of the limiting beliefs that you had around that, like thinking about like what hook to come up with, that's where I get stuck every time because I'm just realizing that right now that's
Yeah.
one of the reasons why it's so hard for me to make content for Instagram. Besides the fact that I like long form content and I love writing, I love emailing.
Yes.
Besides that, it's just you're told over and over again, you don't have a hook, people are gone. They are gone.
Yes.
They don't care. They already don't want to buy from you. So you have to prove to them that you are worth it, which by the way is not right for either of us because we have undefined, it's not right for anyone, but like for you
Yes.
and me, we have undefined heart centers. And so there's such a pressure that we can feel like we pick up and amplify proving energy from the outside world. Most people have undefined heart centers. So that's the case, but we're not here to prove ourselves. Like that's not part of how we
Exactly.
manifest. Like Tara, that is part of how she manifests. She's proving herself all day long through the challenges that she takes on.
Wow.
But you and me, it's like that's not even part of it. So when we're drawn to doing something that like, I don't even know how I got here, but when we're drawn to doing something that
Yes.
proves that like we can do it right or we can beat someone or that we are enough or that we're enough to draw someone in, that's totally taking us away from the direction that we should be going in.
And if you already had 10,000 followers, you wouldn't be proving anything because you already have it. And so I love
Exactly.
that. And one other crazy just thing is I made a vision board too at the beginning of this year. And one of the pictures that I took and I would stare at, and I would act as if that already happened, like a scrapbook that you were like, oh my gosh, remember when this happened? Literally, it was like crazy when I put the two together. It was like the same amount of engagement on the picture that I would look at on the vision board as the actual piece of content that went viral.
I don't know why that doesn't surprise me at all for you. Specifically,
Why?
you looking at a picture is because your cognition, your strongest sense in human design is outer vision. So people like that, for you, like vision boards work great. Literally, like looking at things, that's going to help you manifest. Like seeing it unfold in front of you is huge for people like you. So
Love
that doesn't
that.
surprise me at all. Also, you have a defined mind center, so you can see how things would play out.
I love that. Yes, that's like completely right.
The other thing I wanted to say to you too, is that you mentioned in your interview with one of your first clients, Loretta, which I loved. Oh my God, she's so adorable. She's
Oh my,
so
she's the
great.
best. She's the
Oh,
best.
she's so awesome. But you mentioned that you've manifested so many things without feeling the emotion that you expect to have when you have the manifestation. And because you're an open emotional or non-emotional in human design, like you don't create your own emotional response on a regular basis. So like if people like you and I are asked, how would you feel if you have the thing? That's so beside the point because we don't know. Because we don't, it's not
Wow.
part of our manifestation process. So for you, what do you know? What can you see unfolding and what do you believe? Beliefs are a really big thing. Probably also why you love affirmations. They're great for
Yes.
people who have defined mind centers. And then also what lights you up, what excites you as a generator to put your energy into. You also have a defined spleen center. So it's about what do you just feel instinctually drawn to? Like you can't help it. When you follow these in the moment intuitive hits, where does that lead you? That's a part of your manifestation process. Yeah, all of these things put together, but not emotion.
I love that. Wow. And I always say that I like using I can manifest just without emotion. I think that when I add emotion, it makes it faster, but just like you said, it's not needed. Yeah.
Yeah. When we have it, when we feel it, because there could be
Yes.
transits, right? That you actually like, we're all in a transit for a while with the emotional wave 35, 36 for like months. And so we all had
Wow.
access to that. You can use it when someone else walks in and has, emotion, emotional solar plexus center defined, like you can ride that. But yeah, not a
Yes.
necessary part.
I love that.
Yeah. But let's dive in a little bit to, your overall manifestation practices, because I'm sure people would really love to hear how this kind of thing works for you.
I love it. So as you know from the membership, I'm someone who I've really bad ADHD. And so I love new things all the time. And so I find a lot of the time that people give up on their manifestation routine because they're bored or they give up on, I always call it like, manifestation is just like going to the gym. You can't go to the gym for 3 days and expect to have abs. Same thing with manifestation. And so I like to switch it up all the time. And so that's why in the membership, I really created, there's, every different tool. So there's affirmation tapes, there's self riffs, there's hypnosis, there's tapping, there's so many different things so that you can literally go in every morning and just be like, this is what I want to do today. So my current routine, because it's always changing, is I like to get up, do a a meditation. So before I check my phone, anything, I like to do the get your manifestation now meditations. And I like to do a self riff tape. So I'll just be making breakfast and I'll be listening to one of the tapes. Everything is always working out for me, I think it's called. I forget, but I can give it to you at the end. And then I'll do an EFT tapping. So that will be before I start my business. Those are the three things I'll do, but it'll change. Like at night, I like to do the hypnosis before bed because I literally fall asleep right away. And that's like the millionaire hypnosis and it knocks me out and gets into my subconscious. But like there's days I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to do a meditation today. So instead, I'm going to do an affirmation tape and I'm going to do a self breath. But I like to make it really easy and fun because I actually, used to try really hard to lose weight. And you're like, why are you talking about weight loss? But that's how I learned. I used to try really hard to lose weight for 25 years of my life and I would do all the hard stuff. I would go to the gym 5 days a week or workout classes, and I would eat really clean. And I never lost the weight until I intuitively started being like, do I want to walk today? Do I not want to go to the gym today? Do I want to eat, a piece of pizza? And once I started listening to myself, I lost the weight. So that's why I made the membership like that. Because if you just ask yourself, how do I want to manifest today? And then go into the membership and pick what you want, it works perfectly, at least for me and my clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And this comes it comes back to a few things. Having a taste in your human design chart and then markets environments is all about I get to go in and like look around and pick out the exact thing that I want today, right? Like whatever
Yes.
it is, that's what I want. I want to go in and be able to have my choice and my option. And as a generator too, we're all about responding to stuff. So it's like whatever feels good today. That's the thing I'm going to say yes to. That's the thing I'm going to go to. So that makes a lot of sense. And the other thing I want to say is that I am so guilty, and I did not realize this until I actually started sticking to manifestation practices. I am so guilty of just trying something and being like, it'll never work for me, and then like
Yes.
moving forward and going like, why can I never manifest anything? And I was just thinking the other day about how important that commitment, and it's actually not for a long time. It's not for a long
Yeah.
time. It just seems that way if you keep stopping and starting. But how important just sticking to this and trusting it, even if you don't feel it right now to be true, even if it doesn't look like it's working right now, how important that is. And I have this subliminal that I've been listening to, and I know that subliminals and affirmations, that stuff takes time. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. I'm going to actually stick with this. And so I did it for 30 days. And at the 30-day mark, I like voice messaged Tara and I was like, fuck this. Nothing's changing. This is not working. I took a break from it that night. I woke up the next day and I was like, everything has shifted. And I was like, so it does work. It's like you literally just need to give it time. And actually, you know what's so funny? I wanted to tell you this. You posted this.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Oh my God,
And I have it
stop.
as my screensaver. So anybody who's not watching, it says when you feel like giving up, it's the sign you're closest to having it all. Keep fucking going.
It's
And
so true.
it is so true. I was like, I know that it doesn't make sense to me that I'm not almost there because parts of me really felt it. And I was like, you just got to keep going. You just got to keep going and persevere. And it's really made a huge change for me. So it is about sticking to it.
Yeah, and I made a video on how I got really fucking good at manifesting. And I have a video series, but the main way is that there's always a breakdown before a breakthrough when it comes to my manifestations. And so many people were like, oh my God, you're so right. But I used to be really bad at manifesting because I would manifest and then shit would hit the fan. I'd be like, all the negative thoughts would come up out of nowhere, or the opposite of what I wanted would happen, or just literally my whole world would just blow up. And that's when I would stop. That's actually a sign to start manifesting harder because I always get excited when it happens because your manifestation's right around the corner. And for you, the exact same thing. You were like, I'm ready to give up. And then the next day it came in. Every single time that my world is showing the opposite, I get so excited. And instead of stopping, because that's why people don't get their manifestation, that's when I want you to like put your foot on the gas pedal. And so much stuff started coming into my life. And it was that little switch. So that makes complete sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, with the gate 29, that's the gate of commitment. And so it's not surprising to me that that has been something that you do and something that you teach other people. And you're probably aware that you have that in you, right? Because it's part of your conscious chart. Um,
Ooh,
but yeah, very cool. Very cool. So if there's like, okay, I have a couple of questions. So the first one
yes.
is looking back at your most challenging beliefs to shift because you are great at shifting beliefs. You are great at believing, and we have seen the results of that from your life. But if you look back and you're like, God, that was a tough one for me to shift, especially if it's one that you see in other people, what would that have been?
I think the hardest one, and I really think that like so many things in our life come down to this, is that you have to work harder to get XYZ. So everything. So if you think about it, for me, I thought I had to work harder to get into my dream body. In fact, I actually had to work less hard. With this business, that's what I'm constantly doing. You're seeing all over the internet people posting, if someone says it's easy, then it's not, blah, blah, blah. Everything that felt easy in my business got me the best results. Everything that's felt extremely hard crickets, like crazy. But everything, manifestation routine. That's why people want to stop their manifestation routine. It feels too easy. I remember when I was doing, wanted to love my body, I was like, there's no way that just repeating, I'm confident and I love my body in the mirror is going to do anything. And 3 months later, I was a different person, right? And so we think that everything needs to be hard in order to get a result. And I feel like that's my biggest thing that I try and tell people. Like, if it's easy, you will get what you want. And maybe I've just created that belief now, but it is insane that, you'll start seeing it everything in your life. You're making it hard because your subconscious is telling you it needs to be hard to get a result. But in reality, it's all about consistency, actually, everything in life. And so, like, from the gym to the manifestation to your business. So how to be consistent is, if you let it be easy, you're going to want to be consistent. And this is why I always say there's people who like have so many followers. I always tell a story. When I started my Instagram, I just posted quotes and I gained 3,000 or 10,000 followers in 3 months. Obviously, I was manifesting, but I stopped doing quotes because I was like, it's too easy. No one's going to buy. But the first time I ever put out an offer, I got 27 people in. I stopped quotes. My following stopped growing. I just started quotes again this year because I was like, what am I doing? And I 3 times my reach. And so just because it's easy does not mean that it won't get you results. In fact, I feel like the most cliche stuff and the easiest stuff is actually what gets you the most incredible results. You just have to get rid of the, belief that it has to be hard.
Yeah. And it makes so much sense that that would be one of the hardest ones for you to rewrite because it's everywhere, dude. And that's why when people, it's funny because part of like what I'm here to do is show people different versions of what's realistic. It's so funny because when I first read about my incarnation cross, it was like, your incarnation cross is honestly in one of the more boring parts of human design. And I was like, sick. Okay. Because there are some
Yeah.
people like you who have like, you're supposed to bring light and bring joy and show people what's possible. And they don't usually describe mine
Oh,
that way, but mine is about realism in order to actually make effective change. But that does mean that sometimes I feel like I have to be the wet blanket with people and be like, it is possible, maybe not right now, maybe
yeah,
not
yeah.
in this form that you're trying to do it. But another aspect of it is showing people like what actually is realism, like what is realistic. And I was thinking about this recently. People think that doing things in a way that feels easy to us isn't realistic. Why do you think? Is it actually not realistic? No, it's because that's just what you've been raised to believe. That's what the world operates on right now. But that's only one way of looking at life. That's only one
Yes.
reality. And it's just perpetuated by people who believe it. And it doesn't mean that they're right. They just believe it.
Yes. And
Yeah.
everything's made up. And so when it comes
Yeah.
to working harder, Henry Ford, he was the one who decided to make the 5 day work week. Like, people are like, you need to work 5 days to, get X result. But it's like, when you look at everything in this world, everything's made up. Everything's a living belief. Everyone decided one day, this is what's going to happen. I always say with selling your product, someone one day decided that a rock was worth $10,000 and called it a diamond ring, and now everyone has one. But in reality, it was just a rock. But one person was like, nope, this is the value, this is the belief, I'm going to back it. And so once you start realizing, wait, oh my God, everything's a living belief, everything, then you're like, wow. And that really deconstructs, like, I feel like reality.
Yeah. Tara was quoting Catherine Zankina from Manifestation Babe the other
Yes.
day. She was like,
Love.
everything, you might have heard this then. In every belief, there's the word lie. She was like, literally every belief is a lie. You just have to choose which lie you believe. And I was like, blown me
I'm
away
obsessed
here.
with that.
I love it. And it's so true. And you know what's funny is one of my things that I've always done is that I've always looked around at other people to like prove to me what's possible, which helps if the person inspires you and is showing you that something you want to do is possible. But what I would do is look at people and say like, well, they believe this and it's not working out for them, right? Or they preach this or they talk about this, but it's not working out for them. So like it probably just doesn't work. But my mom is a very wise person and she has always told me you can't judge your insides by someone else's outsides. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't even
Ooh.
really know what they're thinking, right? Like, I don't know what their actual limiting beliefs are. I don't know what their beliefs at all are. So they could be saying this thing, but completely believing something else. And I've been a little bit guilty of that too because I'll teach human design and then I'll look at my life and I'm like, I don't understand. Why is this not working for me? And I'm like, because you're not doing it. You're
Yes,
not,
yes,
or you're not
yes.
believing it that you can just follow joy.
No, I love that. And people are always like I'll teach manifestation teachers and they're like, but I should know this. But I'm like, no, that's the whole reason that, coaches have coaches. And I always say you could be a professor when people are having like imposter syndrome, that's kind of off topic, but like a professor in college who teaches finance, they're not filthy rich, but they know how to teach it. Or a history teacher doesn't have to be in World War II to be able to talk about it, or a therapist. They don't have to actually have gone through your trauma to be good at getting you through it. And so I feel like, that's why it's bad when people are like, I'm a guru, and we never would, put that on ourselves. I just feel like we're going through life and we have been giving these talents and we, are this is what we love to talk about and it help people. And so, yeah, I feel like always being like, even not adding that shame to if I'm not listening to my own advice that I teach, that makes sense. We're humans.
Yeah, and we're all on this learning journey together. And also as
Yeah.
5-1 profiles, it's funny. I always have to remember, and I voice messaged my friend who's a 6-line profile about this. And the 6 line's the role model. Like they really need to walk their talk. They're
Wow.
the role model and the example. So they don't necessarily go in and solve problems like you and I do. But they are the
Mm,
person who's like, I've been through it and here's how I've grown through it and here's what I've learned. Amanda Francis is a 4-6 profile.
yes.
So a lot of her stuff is like, I got burned here and here's what I learned. I turned shit into
Yes.
gold. But for you and
Oh,
me, we
wow.
are all about getting down and like book learning or going through the courses and just finding out all the information and being the resource and then being the person who provides a solution because we're like, wait a second, this is being done all wrong. And then we come up and we share that with other people. And it's like they describe us as like the person on the white horse who rides in and then kind of saves the day. And
Wow.
then we dip. But yeah, so it's different for us. And that actually, me saying this, I can hear the shadow of the 5-1, which is like, well, people will question me and say, like, if I can't even do all of it myself perfectly, then why should they listen to me? When, my virtual assistant Danielle, she's also a 4-6. She was like, it's all about just being a few steps ahead because then you really
Yeah.
you know how to be a few steps ahead and how to help these people. So
Of course. And when I was starting out, I was had someone before I ever made 6 figures. She was making 6 figures and she was like, I want to hire you. And I was like, why would you want to hire me? I'm not making anywhere near that. And she was like, because of your values, what you believe in and, how you're showing up online. And so you have to remember that like you have something to say and it's not based off your results or your client testimonials. Like you are placed here to help the right people. And there's so many stories of people who were, laughed at, who actually went on to build incredible businesses. And if they thought about the fact that, like, they started here, why would anyone listen to them? Then they would still be there. And I always think about that of like, everyone starts at zero. And so the person who, Amanda Francis, she started at zero at one point, but she just really decided that she was going to be the one to help these people. And it's more about like the confidence. I would rather hire someone who's making less money than me, who was like, I'm so confident that I can help you with this, than someone who is making more money than me, who seemed wobbly.
mm, well put, well put.
Thank you.
Also, speaking of Amanda Francis, because I really just recently discovered her and I love that woman. Holy
Love.
crap, she has been through so much. I'm like, God,
Yes.
talk about resilience. You're still standing. Seriously, if she can do it, I feel like anyone can, 'cause she's been through
Yes.
a lot. And so I'm so glad. And you know what? Yeah, anyone listening, if you feel like you're going through the ringer, I'll tell you too that I think, and Sam, you also have gate 36, which is the gate of crisis. Yeah. So we're all about like wisdom is healed pain. Wisdom is healed
Oof.
failures, right? And so
Yes.
I look back now and I've been practicing this because like I have two ways of looking at the past failures or hurts in my life. I can look at it as this sucks and I shouldn't have gone through this and I'm stuck in it, or I can look at it as I'm here to use this in one way or another to like really help other people to move through it, to understand them better, to have more compassion for them. And again, even if I haven't gone through their exact stuff, be able to see them with it. And you have that as well in your chart too. So, anyway, that's just something I wanted to say. But I would love to hear, just talk about some fun manifestation stories if you want to
Yes.
kind of close this out because you have some really good ones and I have some fun ones too.
Oh, good. Okay, I love this. So, one of my favorites, just because I got back from a trip yesterday, is I have a belief that 80% of the time that I fly, I always have a seat open next to me. At this point, it's honestly like 90% of the time I fly. It's insane. And so, the reason why I came up with this belief is because I realized everything was a limiting belief. So, I was like, let me have fun with this. And so many people have adopted this belief off of me. Yesterday, I was flying home with my two friends from a bachelorette, and that's why my voice sounds like this, everyone, because I was partying all weekend. I'm always
I
going to
was
be
like,
honest.
you had a good time in Tampa.
The best time, but honestly, it's like even if I only drink for one night, the voice just goes. It's crazy. But so I we were on our way back, and I got the seat in the same freaking row as my best friend. And so I didn't even pick my seat. It was like she is the window, I'm gonna be the aisle. My other friend was like, okay, I hope I can switch with the person that's in the middle. And I was like, hopefully no one's in the middle because I have this belief that every time, I fly 80% of the time that there's a seat open next to me. She goes up to the flight attendant and she was like, hey, is there any seats, you know, um, open? And she said, no, there's none. And she was like, is there this middle seat open? And she said, nope, that one's taken, the one in our row. We got on the plane and my friend goes to her seat and me and my friend sit down and everyone gets on the plane and it's the person must have slept through the flight. I don't know, but they said that that seat was taken and I still had it open next to me. And so that's one of my favorite beliefs. And we still had it open the whole flight because our friend was like, no, I'm just not going to come up there at this point. It's too late. Everyone already boarded. So one of my favorites. Another one is that I just went to Tulum and me and my best friend, I always tell everyone to do this on every trip, make a manifestation list. And so her brother actually passed away. So we decided it would be fun to manifest through him and ask for signs. And so we asked for a tri-colored cat. So that would be like an orange, white, and black cat, whatever, three colors. We asked for a Casa Azul bottle and we asked for free ice cream and free Casa Azul, free alcohol.
Mhm.
And so 5 minutes after we say that, my friends all know that I love to manifest. A tricolor cat comes into the villa, and all the girls were like, "Yeah, this cat has been here all week." Next, we go out to the club that night and we get onto these two guys' table. They're like, "We'll get your alcohol." They only have vodka there, and they're like, "What else do you guys want?" I was like, "I want tequila." I didn't say what kind. They ordered Casa Azul, and they were like, "We've never ordered that before. I don't know why we did that." Free alcohol. And then I see her at the beach club on the last day, and she is eating ice cream at another person's table and they ordered her free ice cream at their table. And I was like, I love manifestation. I just love to have fun with it. And like, I think people are just too boring and they think of just like the big things. But I like to, really think of like what are fun little things as well to make every day feel like you're like in a video game. And the last story, well, you can ask me as many more, but I gave all my guy friends this affirmation. It's so cute. My whole friend group now like loves manifesting. One of my guy friends always loses all of his stuff. Always. So I gave him this affirmation I want to give to everyone here because I use it every time I lose something and I always find it. And it's what is mine will find its way back to me. He
Mm.
goes to Coachella. I'm not there. Apparently, he loses his phone. And my friend group said he was mumbling to himself, what is mine will find his way back to me. It's his favorite affirmation. He
Oh.
uses it now. He went up to the tent of like lost stuff and they had his phone at the tent. And he was like, Sam and her manifesting is insane.
Yeah. Oh my God, I can't wait to see what else he finds. That's also, it's so funny because you always have that
Yes.
one friend who loses their shit every single time. You
No, it's
know it's
so,
gonna
our friends are
happen.
so annoyed. It'll like end up, he'll like lose his phone and it'll be like in the Ralph's parking lot, like under, like, we're like, what are you doing? How did it get there?
Wait, okay. So the calico cat, this is not the story I thought I was going to share. Okay, I'll share this one in a second, but I actually have a small fun one since we were talking about the everyday stuff, which I also love. I think that's so magical.
Love.
So actually, first off, is my brother and his wife, so my sister-in-law, they moved down here a while ago, so now our entire family is here, which is great. And they took like surfing lessons in Hawaii, and when they came back, he bought a board, he bought a wetsuit, and he was like, I want to start surfing. And so I had taken him out once, like a year ago, and we hadn't gone since because he's really busy. His job is very very fast-paced environment.
Yeah.
And So I was surfing a few weeks ago and I was like, when is he going to come out and surf again with me? Like, I really, really want him to get more into it.
Oh,
I want her to get more into it. And I was like, oh, well, I get out of the water. To a text from him being like, hey, do you want to surf this weekend? And I was like,
yes.
yes. You kidding me? I'm so excited that you said that. And then the last thing, because you talked about the calico cat
No,
coming
go,
in
go. I love
here,
this.
probably my favorite manifestation story that's not my own. My friend, she was talking with our other friends where at her apartment where she lives, and she was like, "Oh, I wish I had a wiener. Like, I wish that a man loved me." And they're like friends. She was like, I wish I was loved. And my friends were like, we
Love
love
this.
you. And she was like, no, I want to be loved. I want to be loved by a wiener. I want a wiener, is what she said. She was like, "Ugh, whatever." And so she's a specific manifester in human design, which means that, like, for those people, it's really good to get like pretty specific about what you want. And so I told her, I was like, you weren't specific enough because she walked out of her apartment building and in the parking lot was a little dachshund.
I'm obsessed. Obsessed.
She was
I
like, and it's
love that.
all wiener.
I'm obsessed with that story. Exactly. Be careful what you wish for. Be
Yeah.
specific about what you wish for. I'm obsessed. No,
Oh,
it's so good. And that's why my clients will literally like I have a client today who's like, I feel like I have a magic wand. And I'm like, yes, that's where you get to with your manifestations that like nothing affects you. And like every day you're waking up and you're just like, I want this, I want this, I want this. And you're just getting it. And it feels so crazy, but it's incredible. Like that's what I want for everyone on this earth to get to that point.
absolutely. Yeah. And that's, I think, like, I mean, everyone's life is so layered and our life purpose can show up in so many different ways. But your sun gate in human design is the gate of contribution. So sure, the stuff that you actually create and do, your own personal self-expression, sure. But you don't have gate one, which is the gate of self-expression and the creative. So it's likely that most of your work is drawing attention to something, putting a spotlight on
Wow.
something for other people to see. So you make a contribution through that. And it's all about your unique voice and how you share the thing. Like that's what makes it special. And I know before
Wow.
you've talked about the fact that like there are so many self-help books. What's the difference is the people who are sharing it. And that's such a gate eight thing, you know? But for you, I really do feel, I mean, it's you've found your contribution. And I'm sure there are many ways you'll contribute in this lifetime, but you're here to like your incarnation cross in particular said like you're here to remind people of what's possible, but like bring a light to that and tell people like don't give up. Like there's so much
Yes.
more here. And there is possibility, there is beauty for you here. And I see that in everything you're doing. So I want to thank you and just tell you you're doing a great job.
Thank you. I feel like you read me like a book. I'm obsessed with this.
That's human design, baby. Sam, this has been so much fun. Thank you for sharing everything.
You are so welcome. Thank you for having me. I love this so much. I could like talk to you for hours and nerd out on this stuff forever. Seriously. But I'm so happy that you had me on the podcast and I love meeting all of your followers. If any of them want to message me ever, I love just talking about this stuff. So don't be shy.
Yeah. And also, Sam, you have a free thing that you give away too, right?
Oh,
Are you
yes.
still doing that audio? Yeah. Do you
Yes.
want to tell everybody about it? Because I'm sure people would love it, especially business owners.
Yes, and you could actually link it below if you want, but I have a free audio. It's actually the first module in one of my courses. It's a $444 course. So it's like, yes, definitely get it. But this audio is all on manifesting high ticket clients. So my client actually, bought that course, used the first audio, and she was in a dry spell. She thought it was her strategy. She listened to that audio and she made more 48 hours after listening to that audio than she did all month. And it was completely energy. She was shocked. And so I was like, I need to make this free so that everyone can listen to this. So yeah, I'll give that to you so that you can link it below, or you could just come onto my page and DM me the word audio and or go to my link in bio and it's there. But I would be happy to give that to you.
Great. Yeah. And even if you're not a business owner, by the way, like I've listened to this audio, it's fantastic. Like you can apply, like it's all the same
Yes.
stuff. I know it doesn't, I always have
Yes.
to remind myself of that when like one part of my life seems easy and manifesting in another doesn't. I'm like, it's literally all the same stuff. It seems different. It's not.
Literally.
So you can listen to this and you can still get some good stuff out of it. And I would recommend it. And definitely follow Sam. She has a lot of inspirational reels that she puts on. So puts up there. So
Yes, I would
yeah.
love to. And yeah, no, it's all the same stuff. I've had people come into the membership and literally manifest their baby, manifest love, manifest like, and it's for business. So it's all the same stuff and it all works just as well. So I love that. Yes. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
come to my page and I would love to chat.
great. Okay. Well, Sam, you already know you rock. Everyone listening, you rock. And I will talk to you
Yes.
next time.